Yes, Shilpa, we can start. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Moving ahead, it gives me immense joy to introduce our next speaker, Mrs. Anjali Razdan, Director Academics, Solan Public School, Shimla, who will be speaking with us on another interesting topic, integrating life skills in teaching. Mrs. Anjali Razdan is a master's in botany from the University of Bombay. She also holds a postgraduate diploma education and the bachelor's in education with a career spanning over 40 years in education. Mrs. Anjali Razdan began her career in 1979 as lecturer of biology at Parle College, Mumbai. She later moved to Kolkata and served as principal of Birla Schools and was the founder principal of Lakshmipad Singhania Academy. At Hyderabad, she served as principal of eminent CBSE schools. She also served as vice chairperson of Hyderabad Sahodaya School Complex. She presided as member of the board of governors, school management committees, special advisor in various schools in Hyderabad and across India, and has contributed to the society by being a panelist, counselor, advisor in talk shows on education. Her contributions continued when she presided as member of advisor committees on educational reforms and policies of CBSE. She retired in 2019 as Director Education at DDMS. The retirement was only an additional comma in her life, and now currently Mrs. Anjali Razdan is Chief Advisor and Director Academics at Solan Public School, Solan, Shimla. Over to you, Mrs. Anjali Razdan.
Hi, thank you so much, Shilpa, for the introduction. I have a little issue with my connectivity. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
But I think there is something wrong with my screen. So until my screen comes out, I guess there will be some issues, basically with some connections here. So I do hope that everybody is able to hear me. So I'll have my very quick presentations. And unless and until my screen doesn't, it's buffering still. Unless it doesn't show up, I guess I'll have to keep on thinking. Or what I can do is I'll just go out of the thing and I'll come back again on Zoom. So just give me a couple of minutes to reorganize myself.
Sure, ma'am.
Just a minute. It has to happen. It's technology. So give me a
minute.
Ma'am.
We'll wait for you.
I'm coming back on the same, ID. Give me a minute.
Yes, sure. Meanwhile, participants, a reminder for you all to fill your sheets for attendance, and also the link when you are typing your details, please make sure there are no extra characters because this is auto-generated, the certificate that you will be receiving. So please make sure that you want what you see on the certificate that's being sent to you. Thank you. So participants, until we have Anjali ma'am back with us, would anyone like to share the journey that you had for the last 2 days, if you have been there with us for 2 days, if not, at least come today morning. If anyone would like to share your views, we would be more than happy to hear it.
This is Shailaja Bandari.
Please go ahead, ma'am.
Morning I attended, and in the 2 sessions, very interesting thing what ma'am gave about Rangoli activity, how we can teach mathematics. Basic math, excellent it is. Then designing dance, that activity, wonderful it is. And the information, actually artificial intelligence is a new topic for me. Morning session, a little bit I am able to understand now. If I attend 2 more like this, I may get complete idea about it. But still, if I learn, I think I can guide my students. So these are the things which I would like to share with other members in the session. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Your words truly mean a lot to us.
And you can all visit our YouTube channel and revisit the things and questions that we have considered in last 2 days.
Yeah, I'm back. Sorry. I
Sure,
guess.
ma'am. Thank you. Please go ahead, ma'am.
Well, apologies, ladies and gentlemen, for taking a little bit of your time, but I'm just coming directly jumping into my stuff. I'm going to present before you something to do with life skills, which I think all of us are talking so much about without really understanding what exactly is that and why is it relevant in education. I think it's so much relevant. All of us are doing it. It's just that we are not really knowing that we are doing it, because trust me, all of us are good teachers. You're fantastic teachers. It just needs a little clarifications, and that's what I'm going to do today. I'm going to tell you how will you put what is life skills, how we're going to put it in our, our system of daily teaching and learning, and so on and so forth, right? So I'm going to the share screen, and once I'm on the screen, I'll give you some more instructions. So I think here I go. Okay. Can you see my screen?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, can you see? I think I have to open up my presentation. Can you see this
Yes.
presentation?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
Perfect. So we can see each other, we can hear, and that's the most important two words, which we had in during pandemic. All the teachers were talking about just two words. One was, can you hear me? The other was, can you see me? And so with these two words, I am going to start on this presentation. Just give me another minute more. Just a minute. Give me a minute.
Ma'am, towards your lower side, there is a cup kind of an image. If you click that, then the screen would zoom.
Yeah. No, actually, I'm going by the slide sharing mode, but this bar in between
Yes,
is kind
ma'am.
of
So you
preventing
can,
it. But anyway, I got it.
Yeah.
I can take it down. Yeah, I think that's better. Yeah.
Sure, sure.
So I'm just doing it that. Yeah, give me a minute. So where is the? All right. I'm only worried about, I got a wonderful video and that you should hear. And technically all the time the sound has a problem. So I'm trying to see if the sound issue is resolved in the beginning. Give me a minute more. Share sound is on. Okay, fine. So all right, can you see this? Can we start it? Okay. So here we go, girls and boys, ladies and gentlemen. We are going to talk about life skills. How do we integrate life skills in the teaching learning process? Because all of us are teachers, but then let me tell you that you can even share life skills in your own homes, in your interaction with people around you, not necessarily as a teacher, because we are also human beings. So what is this exactly, this thing called life skills? So let's go to the details, which I'll have one video and a couple of questions to you in between, which you can answer through chat mode. See, teachers don't just teach. You can be vital personalities who you are helping young people to mature. You're making them understand the world. You're making them understand yourself and even their own self. A good education consists of much more useful facts than just marketable skills. Marketable skills. Remember, good education is not just marketable skills, but it's also making a good human being. Charles Platt said it. WHO, World Health Organization, says life skills are adaptabilities for abilities for adaptive and positive behavior. And that enables a lot of people to effectively meet with the demands and challenges of everyday life. If we were during Corona times, and how beautifully all of us, all of you all, we adapted to technology from the typical chalk and talk method. What is that? That's life skills. So we, those who are very quick with life skills and adaptable, they got adapted and they used it and they are successful today. So life skill is also a good amount of adaptability and positive behavior. That's what WHO says. Here, adaptable here they say means that a person is flexible in approach and is able to adjust in different circumstances. And positive behavior implies that a person is forward-looking, even in challenging situations. Right now, when we were watching the video, somebody's child started screaming. Okay, we have to be flexible. We can't scream back and say, hey, what are you doing? This is life skills. Adjust in situations which are beyond your control. All right, so life skills, what's the rationale behind it? What is the rationale behind life skills? So the rationale behind life skills is that if there's a kindergarten child, suppose there's a kindergarten child who joined school last year, let's say in the lower KG or upper KG class. So what will that child, when will that child be a graduate? Possibly in the 21st century, third decade, right? Somewhere around 2035 or 30 or 40. Now that child, all we know about the world that the child will step in, we are using the word she here, but it refers to even a he, will step in, is that they'll have a lot of challenges and opportunities beyond what we can imagine today. We can't imagine all this today. And problems and possibilities that will demand creativity, ingenuity, responsibility, and compassion. That will demand all this. And finally, whether this year's kindergarten child will merely survive or will positively thrive in the decades to come depends in a large measure on the experiences that the child has in schools. And who are in schools? You and me, teachers, right? So life skills, we all, many students come to the nest. Nest means their homes or their very protected schools without the basic knowledge of day-to-day life, because they're always relied on parents or teachers to take care of things. Like in the school, have you ever taught them how to pay taxes? What are taxes? How to vote? How to write a resume? Anything to do with banking? How to buy a car? But my lucky stars, they all know Pythagoras theorem and other things very well, because that we examine them, we give them an assessment. But these are the life skills which they ought to know also. Right, so life skills. One of the reasons is it enables people to translate knowledge, attitudes, and values regarding all the concerned issues into action, right? Convert them. Second reason for why we're learning life skills is it empowers the learners. The learner could be a teacher, the learner could be a student, anybody, to observe the process of involving what, why to do, how to do, when to do. You know, these are very pertinent questions when we have to ask every time we're doing something. Gitanjali, I think Gitanjali Iyer was that girl who was the young Indian, you know, she used this word, why is this water? She started with water actually. There was dirty water in a pond and she got some device to convert it and make it, you know, cleaner. But because had she not asked why and how and when, and had not people put curiosity in her, probably she would not be where she is today. And the third reason that we're doing life skills is that it enables you to build sound and harmonious relationship with yourself, with others, with your environment, and it enables you to survive in conditions which are sometimes pretty bad. So these are basic three reasons for why we are doing life skills. Now, life skills in the 21st century, we usually have what you're calling as 4 C's. We think it's 4 C's, but it's actually 7 C's. So life skills is an integrated process with the 21st century skills. And we cannot survive in the 21st century because our kids are already 21st century. They are millennials. Remember, they're born with technology. They're born in the 21st century. They're born with certain life skills. And if we don't know as teachers, I guess we are outdated then. So the 21st century skills, which we call as the 7 C's, are creativity. At the top, you have to be creative. Collaboration. The cross-cultural understanding. Let's not be only in one state. Right now, you all teachers from various states, various parts of the country. And unless and until you're not getting blended together into cross-cultural understanding, that's how it broadens your outlook. Communication, very important. It doesn't mean only how you talk in English. Communication is an effective way of putting your point across. That's communication. You put it across, it is going across, and it's getting done is communication. And computing and ICT literacy, we cannot say less about this because unless and until there was no ICT, and thanks to ICT that we are all alive and kicking and having even these seminars wide across because of the information and communication technology. and the literacy to know that. And career and self-reliance, very important. What should the child do? How should the child go there? What are the ways that they can, get on to, relying on your own self rather than being dependent on others? Very important. So we have 7 C's: the creativity, collaboration, cross-cultural understanding, communication, computing, and career and cross learning, leading to self-reliance. We have life skills, technically speaking, 21st century categories are around 4, we can divide them into 4 broad types. The ways we think, the ways we work, the tool for working, and the skills for living in this world successfully. Thinking, working, what tools do you need for successful working? What skills do you need for living in this world? If you talk about thinking, what are the tools for 21st century tools? We have creativity, we have critical thinking. I think in my last lecture, somebody was talking about critical thinking. It's not a normal thinking. All of us think. Who doesn't? But critical thinking is tremendously effective. Problem solving. Who doesn't have problems? But how do you solve them in the 21st century skills? Decision making. Many a times we are very undecided. We never take a decision. We lie on the fence and see which side the wind blows. We fall on that side. That's not what exactly is the right form of critical thinking or problem solving. And then if you do these 2 things, decision is already made. Learning. Never stop learning, even if you're till 100 years old. So this is ways of thinking of the 21st century. In the ways of working, there's communication and there's collaboration. By communication, we all understand. By collaboration, it is nothing but teamwork. We have to inculcate the spirit of how do we work together. Individual workers, we are all fine. But have we ever taught ourselves and others that we can work in teams, we can work together? Had we not, India and the rest of the world, not worked in teams and collaborated, we would have not got the vaccine for coronavirus. Look at what all this has done. We even talking about tools for working. We have something called ICT, which you all know, and information literacy is very important. What do you know about all this? Of course, there is a laptop, there's a computer, there's internet, there's Wi-Fi. But then how many ways can we use it? How many things that have come up in the recent information? That's also very important. And skills for living in this world, according to me, this is the highest one, is citizenship. Don't be just an Indian citizen. Make your kids the global citizen so they can fit in any part of the world. Life and career. How do you choose that? Personal and social responsibility. See, let's not do social service when you're not even doing service to your own self first. So ourselves, very important, and social service definitely comes thereafter, which is nothing but extension of your own self. Right. And ways of working and ways of thinking are interconnected, and so are skills for living and tools for working. The whole 21st century edifice is interconnected. You cannot have one thing in isolation and do something else in the most conventional way. This is very important. So we have a framework of life skills. I mean, how does it get framed together? These are all classifications, but there's a framework to that. So thinking skills, if you're going to see, what does it mean? Which we're going to deal this little bit in elaboration a little later on. It means self-awareness. It means problem solving, decision making, critical thinking, creative thinking, which we just discussed. They're coming under thinking skills. We have social skills. What does it mean? Interpersonal relationships. People between 2 people of the same organization, between your own home, between your mother-in-laws and yourself, or your father-in-laws and you, or your husband and yourself, or your wife and you. It's interpersonal relationships between friends. Do you know how to keep them? Keep them in the most right, positive way. Communicating effectively. We can't say less about this, because unless and until a child is not taught about what do you want to say, child, what do you want to effectively communicate, I guess the rest of the learning is completely rote one. So we have to teach them how to get the communication channels clear. And how does it start? It starts with us. Empathy building is a very big factor, according to me. I think empathy is a very important skill of social skills. Unless you don't know the pain of others, you cannot do anything for your own self either. You have to understand what goes on elsewhere, how does it work, and how does it If the world did not have empathy on each other, I repeat again, we would not have found the virus vaccine, and we would not be getting it either. It's because we are empathetic to each other's sufferings, right? From the United States to India to wherever it began, to Italy to Rome, we all were empathetic. And because of empathy, we started sending tons of vaccines there, and we also now received the rest, of help accordingly. This is empathy, and this has to be taught in small ways. It leads to big ways. We also have in the framework of life skills something called managing feelings, emotions, coping with stress. This will deal with a little bit in the later part of the time. How do you manage your feelings? How do you get your emotions controlled? How do you cope with stress? Very important thing. So all this we are going to just study a little later, all right? This is a framework of life skills. And again, remember, they are interconnected. So we are now going into the Maslow's, this is very interesting, you must understand this. Maslow's hierarchy of needs. In the Maslow's hierarchy of needs, we have something to do with the what exactly is this stuff about Maslow's hierarchy of needs. When I press the next button, the key key issues, we'll talk it out. Can you see this triangle falling down? This pyramid? Yeah. Now, hierarchy of needs. It is resembling as if it's a huge pyramid, with a broader base and a narrow top. But if I tell you I don't know if any of you understand a bit of Hindi, we recently celebrated Hindi Divas on the 14th of this month. So I guess we better be aware a little bit of Hindi. So if I talk about roti, kapda or makan, have you heard of this? Roti, kapda or makan. This is nothing but Maslow's hierarchy of needs. You see, when a person is hungry, you see a beggar on the road, very hungry, poor fellow, doesn't have anything on his body, but just there, and you go to him and says, come, I'll make you sit in my Lamborghini and I think take you for a ride. Do you think that person at that moment of time needs a Lamborghini? It doesn't need it. So basically, it's a need. I think somebody is not muted. Would you please mute yourself?
Muted, ma'am.
So then in this need hierarchy, unless that need is not met, what does that need? The person needs food. The person is hungry. And you're asking him to go to a bungalow or to take a good joyride in a fantastic Mercedes car or something. That's not what the need is immediate. So Maslow's, according to him, they say, if your fundamental needs are done, then only you rise to the next need. If that is covered, you rise to the next need. Let's say the same person is given good sumptuous meal. Okay, the person eats it and gets very, very happy and then says, okay, good. Now, can I just sit down somewhere and want a nice place to rest? So then he wants a little bit of comfort because one need is met, remember? So you give him a nice chair and a table and say, okay, this is a bed, you want to sleep, you can sleep, fine. Sleeps there, says, oh, I wish I had a roof over my head, So he's looking, because one need is met, now the next need, I want to have a little cozy, surface to myself because it's very nice. And then once that's done, then again, he wants a little better house. Then I think, can I move around? Can I get a bike first? Then I get a bike, he gets a car and stuff like that. Once he gets everything and he gets for many years and he becomes the richest person on this earth. And then he realizes, what is all this about? What is this for? I don't think I need all this because I'm not happy. So your self-actualization comes in. This is hierarchy of needs. So girls and boys, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going a little fast. I can understand. So if you go down there, look at that. Physiological needs. It's breathing, food, water, shelter, clothing. These are physiological needs, which your body needs first. And this, if it is not met within, you cannot go to something like self-esteem and the higher needs. It has to be met first. Presuming that that's met, and then it goes to the safety and security. I don't want anybody to beat me. Nobody should know that. No animal should come. I don't want a snake to come and bite me because I'm on the street. Safety, security is again very, very basic also. And these are all physiological needs. When you go a little higher, when these are met, then becomes love and belonging. I want family, friendship, a lot of connections. I feel so nice when I'm sort of meeting people. And when that's met, then it becomes a self-esteem. I feel hurt sometimes, you see. I want to respect others. My confidence increases tenfold, self-esteem. Once that is met also, you go to self-actualization, which is the highest level of your fulfillment, which is morality, your creativity, your spontaneity. acceptance of experiences, and a lot of things, and inner potential growing is self-fulfillment. So as per the hierarchy of needs, once your basic needs, which are physiological and safety security, you rise to the second level of needs, and the psychological needs in the mind, love, belonging, self-esteem, so on. And then all that met, you go on to the very highest level, which is your spontaneity, purpose, inner purpose, positivity, morality, and so on, self-fulfillment. So if we apply that in the teaching scenario now, let's see. The needs of the students are different at different stages of their development. Remember that, teachers, fundamentally. Every student has different needs at different times. Now we are just applying this principle of hierarchy of needs to the teaching learning scenario. Let's say grade level 1 child, grade 1 child need. What's a need? He wants to crack his IITs? No. He wants to see if his teachers is patting him or liking him, or wants to go to the teacher and stuff like that. And then he wants to be the best boy. Everybody will get claps. These are the needs. Fulfill that. The teachers need to have a clear understanding of these developmental needs of different age groups in order to address the needs of the students along with enhancement of life skills. So once you understand, I mean, a grade 10 student will not have the same need as grade 1. Or in between comes the 7th and the 8th graders. And then comes the 12th and the 11th graders, the college graders. Everybody has different needs. A clever teacher, a teacher who is, critically thinker, is the one who understands, okay, who am I dealing with? Oh, right, okay. This is the kind of needs they would have. Let me see if I can do something in that direction to fulfill that need. Because once that's done, you will find them really, really accessing to your lessons and whatever you feel like, the classroom things with them. It's also very important for the teachers to fulfill the basic needs of the students. This is exactly what I was saying. Before working on the fulfillment of higher order needs, you're teaching something huge, good lesson. But remember, the basics they don't know. Their needs are not met with even very basics of the mathematics or anything. But you're teaching them some high level stuff. And you're saying, okay, now don't you understand? Now, how come you didn't understand all this? I've already taught you. Maybe you taught, but that's not the way they learned. So make sure that their basic needs are fulfilled as per keep the Maslow's theory in mind. And then most of the needs at the highest level and middle level are the life skills. Look at the highest level and the middle levels, which needs to be addressed to and enhanced for the students. What? Self-esteem, self-actualization, creativity, spontaneity. These are the levels which a teacher has to take the kids in order to meet with the life skills. I hope that's done. Great, thank you. So let's go to the next one. Understanding life skills. How do you understand? First, understand yourself, please. Understand yourself, right? Understand the 21st century learners. Remember, they're millennials. They're smart kids of today. They know technology 1,000 times better than you and me do. So how do you deal and be with them and yet be better than them? Understand the 21st century learner. And third is become equipped to understand self and children. Equip yourself. So what are you doing right now? Somebody's given you a workshop, a seminar, somebody else gave you it earlier. You're getting enriched. You're getting empowered. You're getting equipped to understand, okay, oh, I can go this way as well. I can go that way as well. Your mind is already mapping things. So this is equipping yourself. Okay, so now we'll go to little nuances of life skills. This is very interesting. Self-awareness. What is it? Looking at the mirror? No. It includes our recognition of ourselves. Have you recognized your own self? Your weaknesses, your strengths, your likes, your desires. What makes you tick? What do you think you don't have? How can you develop on that? You know that, you know it, but sometimes we don't address that. Very important. Self-awareness. This will help you to recognize when you're feeling stressed, when you're under pressure. Many people buckle under pressure. They just can't work. No ways. Why? If you recognize that you have this strength and this weakness and this, you cannot buckle under pressure, because that recognition, that awareness of yourself will make you sail through. And put that characteristic to the children as well. So often a prerequisite to effective communication, interpersonal relations, as well as for developing empathy for others. See, it's a prerequisite, and awareness of yourself is a prerequisite for good communications. You know, you can even talk to people, or you know whom to talk, how to talk, when to talk, what to talk, critical thinking rules. So this is a very interconnected skill, but one of the basic ones for life skills. We have another one, problem solving. Is there somebody doing something on the screen? There's some scratches coming here.
Yes, ma'am. I'll remove that.
I think this is not on. Whoever it is, please stop it. Too bad. So problem solving. I think somebody's child is possibly trying to do that, and they have no control over that child. Some Jyoti, the name came there.
Yeah.
Would you please don't waste our time here. All right. So problem solving is another skill. It dealing constructively in our lives. Dealing constructively in our life. Problem identification is the first step in the problem solving process. Right now we had a problem. Somebody scratched the screen. All right, let's take it like that. We identified there's a problem. Somebody has a little child. She has no control or he has no control over and left him there. Maybe the person is doing something else. Now what do? We can't shout and scream. That's a 21st century child, whoever it is. So let's identify what the problem is. Not the problem of everybody, it's just problem of one person. And then we go on to the steps. Deal with it constructively. Look at that maze that they're putting it on. Go step by step. Don't solve everything together. And decision making is a part of the process, right? Making a decision in solving a problem is a very important part. All right. And significant problems that are left unresolved can cause mental stress and gives rise to accompanying physical pain. There are a lot of issues. Sometimes we have physical issues, what we call as, lifestyle diseases, we call them as lifestyle diseases, are nothing but coming from stress. So mind is a big part of even our body. All right. Then we have decision making. We talked a lot about this, but let's see. What is this? There's a person walking and he doesn't know which way to take, left, straight, or the right. That's the kind of flux we are in most of the time. So dealing constructively with decisions in our life, you can have consequences for health. If young people actively make decisions about their actions in relation to health by assessing the different options and what effects they have on their self. Critical thinking. I can't say less about this. It's one of the best things I think of the 21st century skills. So critical thinking is analyzing information and experiences in an objective manner. Now there was somebody scribbling on the screen here. We can scream, we can shout, we can abuse, we can do whatever else we want to. But then let's objectively analyze it. And objectively analyze it. Why, what, where, how, when? Should we do it? Should we not do it? Can it stop there? Can the person is also listening and understanding? Let the person get a little bit of value addition. Objectively. We can contribute to the health by helping us to recognize and assess the factors that influence attitudes, behavior, such as values, peer pressure, and the media. Try to contribute in critical thinking manner all the factors which will assess the attitude of the person, which means students under you, behavior of them, values of them. This all are critical thinking attributes. Critical thinking, I like this picture here, where there is one gear and there's another gear with the teeth, and the right gear fits into the right depression, and then the whole thing moves. That's how critical thinking is about. Not that they're both moving, but they're moving with a very precise, accurate sinking in. Critical thinking. All right, then we go to creative thinking, one of the life skills. Creative thinking is a novel way of seeing or doing things. We know that. They're very different way. So characteristics it has 4 components to it. Generating new ideas is a creative thinking. Shifting perspectives easily, in the sense, is a glass half full, is a glass half empty? Perspectives, shifting them easily and without any kind of pain or problems to us is creative thinking. Conceiving of something new. Please see that it's new, it's completely yours. It could be a little bit of takeoff, but this new is always new. Building on others' ideas is also considered creative thinking. There's an idea, built on it, take it in a different direction. Definitely it's a creative thinking. So contributes to both decision making and problem solving. Creative thinking, or as we call critical thinking, also sometimes is a contribution to making a decision and also to solve a problem. by exploring the available alternatives and the consequences of our action. If you do this, it's going to happen. This is what is going to happen. If you do that, that's what's going to happen. The consequences of any action is also creative thinking. You're thinking much in advance. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like you to note this down, consequences of your action, because I'm going to tell you a story at just around a little minutes from now. And in that story, I will ask you what are the attributes. It's a very interesting thing. So just keep on understanding what are the characteristics that we are putting to each of these attributes of life skills. Interpersonal relationships, relationship between two people, right? So relating in a positive way with people we interact, making and keeping friendly relations, which can be of great importance to our mental and social well-being, right? Maintaining good relations with family members. I mean, many times even our own offices, our organizations where we work is like a family. Maintaining good relations with them definitely goes a long way in our interpersonal relationships and enables also to end relationships. What a lovely thing. Many times we end relationships, can't keep it longer. There are relationships and marriages, there are relationships elsewhere. Ending is painful, but if it's analyzed in the most beautiful way of life skills, you can end that also very, very beautifully and without causing much damage if you critically think and ponder and understand the value of interpersonal relationships. Ending is not a problem. I would even go to one extent into interpersonal relationships by saying that accepting failure is one thing which we're not teaching our children. We only know we are very success-oriented people. And when we have some success, we want to share it with everybody and the whole world and everybody is happy. But what about the failure? Have we taught our children how to face failure? How to go on with life if there is failure? Have we taught our own self, first of all? Very important. It's a very, very important, life skills, which has to go on with people. We go on to effective communication. The less said about it, the better. Effective communication is not only about talking in English, as I said earlier, it can be any language, it can be verbal, it can be non-verbal, but it has a meaning across. So expressing appropriately both verbally and non-verbally is effective communication. And also your opinions and desires, your needs and fear. It's a natak. Your mudras, when you do the Bharatanatyam, there are mudras, and what a beautiful expression those mudras give. That's non-verbal communication. It's also ability to ask for advice and help in the time of needs. When I'm talking about non-verbal communication, I like you to give a little example. I'm giving you. All of you look at the screen. Ladies and gentlemen, look at the screen, look at me. I hope you can see me, right? So, okay, let's say we have Sumati ma'am here on the screen, and she's a fantastic person. So I'm going to tell her same sentence, but in two ways, which is my example of showing you non-verbal communication. And at that time, as teachers, we do make this mistake many a times. And even in our own interpersonal relationship with our own family members, we make the same mistake. So here I'm telling you what exactly I'm meaning. Let's say Sumati ma'am is there. Okay. So Sumati ma'am, you're such a lovely person. Look at me, Sumati ma'am is such a lovely person. And now same thing I'm saying in a different way. Sumati ma'am, you're such a lovely person. I like you. What's the difference? You know the difference now, right? My facial expressions said it all. In the first case, Sumati ma'am, you're such a nice person. But look at my Josh. Look at my non-verbal expressions. Useless. They are not meaning what I'm trying to say. And the second one is definitely meaning what I'm trying to say. So many a times, even your look to anybody, it spells it out. So make sure that our non-verbal communications are as good as our verbal communication. This was the small example I wanted to tell you. And Sumati ma'am, I definitely like you. So we're going ahead with empathy. Empathy is a wonderful skill of the life skills. We know what is happening to the others. So empathy is seeing with the eyes of another. I love this quote. Empathy is seeing with the eyes of another. Empathy is listening with the ears of another. And empathy is feeling with the heart of another. How beautiful, no? Seeing with the eyes of another, listening with the ears of another, and feeling with the heart of another is empathy. And that picture explains 1,000 words. The ability to imagine what life is like for another person, even in situations that we may not be familiar with, is empathy. And empathy, you don't have to act. Empathy comes from inside. So managing emotion is also one of them. And managing emotions, I found fantastic. When I do with teachers a little slowly, I'm going fast, I know that. But when we do this, many times people feel, I'm very emotional person. I'm very emotional. Many times we say that, no? What does it mean? That at the drop of the hat, you start crying. That's called emotional. You should know how to manage your emotions. How do your behavior is influenced by your emotions? How do you respond appropriately? And what is emotions? Emotion is not the ability to cry at the drop of the hat. Emotions is the ability to take it on yourself, analyze it critically, a problem or a situation, and behave appropriately. That's emotions. And how do you manage them is more important than how do you outburst your emotions. How do you relax? How do you avoid tensions? How do you kind of avoid stress? That's in your hands. So if you know it's there, you're aware of the problem, your 50% problems are sorted out. If you're only aware. Many times we're not even aware. We just keep on cribbing without being aware that there is a problem. I'll give a small example. Just last night, we were having a meeting with the organizers. I would not like to name them. And we were having a lot of question answer session. A lot of us were questioning. And trust me, it was with all the work that the organizers would have had behind the scenes, it would have been a crackdown. It would have said, okay, now enough is enough. I can't answer all your questions. But no. But they took it, they smiled it, and they bounced our questions back saying, you don't worry, everything is going to go fine. That's what is the ability. Otherwise, there could have been a crack up. That's the ability to manage your emotions, to manage stress. And I must really, really congratulate them for doing this beautiful thing. I was in the heart of heart saying, wow, look at the way they're managing hundreds of questions bouncing to them, just two of them getting on to maybe three, getting on with the answers and with a smile, managing emotions. So here they are, all the the now-rasas of life, and their emotions. But we have to manage them. And that's how you teach the children. Coping with stress is, please recognize first, do you have stress? Stress due to what? We all have stress. Who doesn't have stress? So how do you manage that stress? And please don't pass on that stress to the children, the students whom you are teaching. No, it shows on your face. It shows on your body. It's your body language changes. So if you manage your emotions, you're already managing stress. All right? And stress, throw it off. It's nothing but a mind-created stuff, which can be waved off, depends on how you cope up with it. And relax. Learn how to relax. Go and meditate a little. All right? So now, ladies and gentlemen, are you all ready? I'm going to tell you a story. And this story I'm going to read it out to you, don't worry. And this story has two parts. First part, and I'll ask you two questions. And then the second part, and I'll ask you another three questions, 3 or 4. All right? And when I'm asking you question 1, I'm also giving you all the tips there. Don't worry. It's not a tough exam that you'll pass or fail. But in the tips, you are going to just put it in your chat box. All right? Just write that one life skill actually you're going to write based on the story. Here it goes. So, where am I? Yeah. The name of the story is The Golden Advice. What's the name? The Golden Advice. All right. So a king often went on hunting trips into the forest with his minister and servants. Okay. Give me a minute. So on one such trip, I hope everybody is listening. Huh? Just enjoy the story. So on one such trip, he came across a sage, a sadhu, who kept repeating, my advice will be sold for 100 coins of gold. My advice will be sold for 100 coins of gold. The king was a sport. He thought, what is 100 coins of gold to me? If this sage's advice is good, I will be a better man. This was the king thinking. So he went up to the sage, the sadhu, and he said, giving him the gold coins, the king asked him for the advice. He said, okay, here, take this gold coins. Now tell me the advice that you said. My advice will be sold for 100 coins of gold. Now tell me the advice. So the sage calmly took the coins and said, O king, always remember this. Never do anything before thinking what its effect will be. What is the advice he said? O king, always remember this. Never do anything before thinking of what its effect will be. Before thinking of the consequences, don't do anything. This is the advice the sage gave the king. The king's minister was laughing and thought, ha, such an ordinary thing, and it cost 100 coins of gold? What a fool the king is. The king guessed what his minister was thinking. He was a smart king, you know. All the same, he told him calmly, see that sage's words are engraved in a stone and placed in my private chamber so that I can see them every morning and night. He told that to his, please give me a minute. I'm in the webinar later on. The king guessed what his minister was thinking. All the same, he told him calmly, see that the sage's words are engraved in stone and placed in my private chamber so that I can see them every morning and night. Put it on a stone, engrave it so that I can see it every now and then. All right. And then the minister thought that this was quite strange, but he did as he was told. So a few months later, one of the king's enemies met the royal physician and bribed him with 10,000 gold coins to poison the king. Okay, so now the story is halfway through and the questions come up now. Are you ready? Okay, so here it goes. So I'm sorry, I'm going back a little. Just give me a minute. 1 minute. Okay, so there's a question here. Which life skill of the king is manifested in the statement which he said to himself? What is 100 coins of gold to me if the sage's advice is good? I will be a better man. Which life skill do you think is manifested in this statement? Now I'm giving you the life skills here. I would like you to answer this in the chat box in one life skill, whichever you think is best manifested for this. And here are the clues. Yeah, can you see them? And managing emotions. Please put up, give you around 10 seconds. I would like you to write that life skill in the chat box.
Ma'am, you're on mute. Oh, you can't unmute yourself. I know that. Okay. Yes, ma'am. You can unmute yourself.
Now I'm unmuted. All right, so your 15 seconds are over, ladies and gentlemen. The first question I hope is done. Which skill the king thought is management? The second question coming up here of the same part of the story. All right, and here it comes. Why did the king get the sage's words engraved in the stone and place it on his private chamber, which life skill prompted him to do so? The king said, no, put it on a stone, engrave it, these words which that fellow said, and make sure that I see it every morning and evening. Which life skill prompted him to do so? Out of the same life skills here, what do you think? Come on, fastest fingers. I would like you to put anything that you feel, put it in the chat box. Just write Q2 or A2 means answer 2 and write down that skill. Don't worry, no passing, no failing. You are just on the right track. Okay? Fantastic. So why did the king get the sage's words engraved in the stone and place it in his private chamber? Fantastic. I'll give you another 2-3 more seconds. Whoever feels like writing, write the answer of which life skill did you use here to do this. If this is done, then I'm going to the next part. All right. Okay. So here I go now to the next part of the story. Now, very interesting part. All right. So let's move on. So the golden advice continues. I'm going to read it out to you. So a few days later, the king fell ill. This was a golden opportunity for the physician. He mixed the poison as if it was a dose of medicine, and he moved towards the king's bed. Suddenly his eyes fell on the sage's golden words engraved in stone. Never do anything before thinking what its effect will be. Was that written there? The physician began thinking, if the king dies of poisoning, the guards will kill me. Of what use will the gold coins be then? He threw away the poison and mixed the right medicine instead. The clever king saw him doing this and demanded to know why he did this. Under threat, the physician confessed the truth. The king called for the minister and said, the other day, when you heard the sage's advice, you laughed at me. But see how useful it has turned out to be now? Had the physician not seen the words, he would have poisoned me. I would have died, and so would he. So there would have been riots, and the kingdom would have been in grave danger. The minister had to admit the truth of this matter. Right? So this is the second part of the story. And here goes question number 3, 4, and 5. Now it's going to be a quickie one. Question number 3. Which life skill helped the royal physician to change his decision? Again, I'm giving you the life skills. These are the life skills. Which life skills do you think? I'm so sorry, going back. So which life skill helped the royal physician to change his decision? Please answer it on your chat if it's possible. I can see my chat has got stuck with only 99 answers. But if you think you can answer there in some other way, please do it. I'd like to know what your answer is. Next question. Question number 4. Which life skill did the royal physician lack? He didn't have a certain life skill of analysis, critical thinking, God knows what. What is that he lacked from the same skills? Try to put up, what do you think? Okay, another question. Which life skill did the king use to derive the truth from the royal physician? Which life skill did the king use to derive the truth from the royal physician? Nice, no? And then finally, the 6th question. Which life skill was adapted by the king to convince the minister about the sage's advice? Which life skill did he use here? When he told the minister, see, I told you, no, that time you laughed at me, but had you not seen at the stone, you would have not been able to save ourselves right now. So which life skill was applied amongst these life skills? That was a question number 6. Okay, that's nice, no? No test, no nothing. At the same time, we are analyzing a story for life skills. You can use the same technique even in the classes when you have certain things to do, not necessarily a technique for your academic matter, but it can be non-academic as well, just to enhance the life skills. And here we go. Now, if you want, I mean, this is something which you can just take a picture of, and I'm not going to spend more time on this, but these are classroom techniques using life skills. When you're in the classroom, these are the ways you can use life skills in the classroom for its efficacy. So if there's a technique and there is a meaning of the technique. In discussion method, for example, it involves exchange and sharing of ideas. You know what the discussion method is. Debating, role playing, brainstorming, storytelling, drama. These are all life skill techniques you can use in the classroom to enhance your lesson and see what effect the lesson has. Take a picture if you wish to. I'm going to the next page. We have case studies. You can have miming done. You can have poetry and recitals done. Poetry made out of academic matter. You know, acronyms sometimes, synonyms sometimes. Question and answer, the Q&A. Instead of giving the answer by the kids, you can tell them to frame a question. Life skills, right? These are also various ways in which life skills can be used in the classroom for enhancing the lesson. Then you have a few more. Games can be played, structured games, which can be used as an educational tool for expression of aesthetic and ideological elements. And what a lovely thing it is to make the kids stand up or do something as a game. And then you see the effect after that. Working in small groups and pairs. Remember, we talked about collaboration. It's a life skill. How do you work in smaller groups? How do you work in pairs? How do you work in a bigger group? And how do you work individually? It's a huge, life skill. Simulations. Simulations is generally after every training. I conduct thousands of trainings so far. And every training, I believe that not like the one we are right now, we are into virtual mode. But when it is a physical mode, we can tell them to get up. I'd like you to just pretend you're blind. And, how do you feel? That simulation. You understand? That's a very important part where life skill can sink in if you want to teach something. Songs and dances, demonstrations. Of course, in any practicals, whatever practicals we have in our classes, it's a nothing but demonstration, hands-on. That's also promoting the learning in the faster way, in a much better way, in a more deeper way, more engaging, These are all life skills. So if I want to go back, once again, take you back, case studies, and this is the ones. So the three frames that we have is about life skills. So discussions and so on, and case studies and so on, and games and techniques and so on. All these are various ways in which you can have life skills taught in a classroom. Now, this is a beautiful story. I do hope you can hear the sound. If you can't, I think just train your ears because there's nothing I can do for technology. But this is about, you heard the story of rabbit and the tortoise. All of us know, Khargosh or Kachua. Kachua or Khargosh ki kahani. What is that? Very beautiful ending it had, no? Rabbit and tortoise went on a race, and then who won? Obviously, the tortoise won because he was very slow and steady, and that wins the race. Okay. Now that was in our times, in our grandmother's times, because we have grown up with that story. But look at the same story now with 3 or 4 different endings. In today's context, 21st century, how can this story end if we have certain life skills into it? Enjoy the story. It's just around 3 minutes of it. I'd like you all to just watch it. I hope you can hear it.
Once upon a time, a turtle and a rabbit had an argument about who was faster. They decided to settle the argument with a race. The turtle and the rabbit both agreed on a route and started off the race. The rabbit shot ahead and ran briskly for some time. Then, seeing he was far ahead of the turtle, he thought he'd sit under a tree for some time and relax before continuing the race. He sat under the tree and soon fell asleep. The turtle, plodding on, overtook him and soon finished the race. Emerging as the undisputed champ, the rabbit woke up and realized that he'd lost the race. The moral of the story is that slow and steady wins the race. This is the version of the story that we've all grown up with. But our version of the story continues. The rabbit was disappointed at losing the race, and he did some thinking. He realized that he'd lost the race only because he had been overconfident, careless, and lax. If he had not taken things for granted, there's no way the turtle could have beaten him. So, he challenged the turtle to another race. The turtle agreed. This time, the rabbit went all out and ran without stopping from start to finish. He won by several miles. The moral of the story? Fast and consistent will always beat the slow and steady. It's good to be slow and steady, but it's better to be fast and reliable. But the story doesn't end here. The turtle did some thinking this time and realized that there's no way he can beat the rabbit in a race the way it was currently formatted. He thought for a while and then challenged the rabbit to another race, but on a slightly different route. The rabbit agreed. The turtle and rabbit started off. In keeping with his self-made commitment to be consistently fast, the rabbit took off and ran at top speed until he came to a broad river. The finishing line was a couple of kilometers on the other side of the river. The rabbit sat there, wondering what to do. In the meantime, the turtle trundled along, got into the river, swam to the opposite bank, continued walking, and finished the race. The moral of the story? First, identify your core competency, and then change the playing field to suit your core competency. The story still hasn't ended. The turtle and rabbit by this time had become pretty good friends, and they did some thinking together. Both realized that the last race could have been run much better. So, the turtle and rabbit decided to do the last race again, but to run as a team this time. They started off, and this time the rabbit carried the turtle till the riverbank. There, the turtle took over and swam across with the rabbit on his back. On the opposite bank, the rabbit again carried the turtle, and they reached the finishing line together. Both the turtle and rabbit felt a greater sense of satisfaction than they'd felt earlier. The moral of the story? It's good to be individually brilliant and to have strong core competencies. But unless you're able to work in a team and harness each other's core competencies, you'll always perform below par, because there will always be situations at which you'll do poorly and someone else does well. Teamwork is mainly about situational leadership, letting the person with the relevant core competency for a situation take leadership. And that is the end of the story.
So how was the story? Good. I really enjoyed it because it has so many, endings. The first ending is something which we all grown up with, moral of the story, slow and steady. But in today's 21st century, it's no longer slow and steady. It's much, much more than that. So I'm going to discuss a little bit of the 3 morals or 4 morals that evolves, and we'll get on with this. So one of them then is what they said in the beginning, is that it's good to be individually brilliant and able to have strong core competencies. But unless and until you're not able to work in a team and harness in each other's competencies, you will always perform below par, because there's always the situations in which you'll do poorly and someone else does much better than you. This is one of the bottom lines of the story, which teaches us a lot of life skills. Another one, if we go to see, teamwork is mainly about situational leadership. So when you're in a team, remember the person who is having some competency in a team. There is always somebody or the other who will be very good in something. So use that core competency and make sure that that competency takes over and leadership to that competency, and you'll find the work getting so much easier and better. Then they say there's nothing, there's neither the hare nor the tortoise gave up after failures. So how they taught failures? I mean, they could have just given up and says, no, I don't think I can run. The tortoise could have thought, but no, the hare decided to work harder and put efforts. And the tortoise also changed his strategy because he was already working as hard as he could. He can't work harder than that. So there was a strategy change. There was a more effort. There was more persistence, and together it made a difference. And then you have another, moral, which is to do with. So in life, when you're faced with failure, Sometimes it's appropriate to work harder and put more efforts, but sometimes it is appropriate to change the strategy. Doesn't mean you have to keep on working hard every now and then, because hard work is not everything else. There are so many other things to do with success. So change sometimes the strategy, and what a beautiful way that this hare and the tortoise teaching us here. And then the hare and the tortoise have also learned another vital lesson we learned from this. What is that? That when we stop competing against a rival, there's no need of competing against a rival. Instead, start competing against a situation. You perform much better than what it was earlier. So this is a simple story teaching us so many life skills. I end with this beautiful quote which says, all children deserve to live in worlds that enable them to flourish. Don't we deserve? Don't the children deserve? Of course they deserve. So let's build stronger teams. And thank you so much for being here. I hope you enjoyed this part here as much I enjoyed in presenting it to you. I'm stopping my sharing here, come back to the screen. And if there were kids in this, which I can see, I'm sure they also enjoyed this very much, because the hare and the tortoise is a favorite story with everybody. How can I use it in our day-to-day systems and life skills is what makes the difference. Any questions? I'd be more than happy to take it. And if there's no questions, it has two answers. One, you understood everything. Two, you understood nothing. Well, that's a joke. So I do hope that it made a small difference to all of you and enjoyed it, in fact, more than anything else.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Okay.
I have a question. Thank you for the wonderful session, ma'am.
Okay. Who's that?
I'm
Geeta.
Mangala from Bangalore.
Mangala. Okay. Hi, Mangala. Tell me.
I am a math teacher.
Okay.
Being a math teacher, how can I bring life skills in my class?
Oh, plenty. I don't know whether you saw my 3 slides where I had put up, I said, take a quick picture of that. You can do math. And did you ever try role play in math? Okay. Let me also tell you one more thing. Do you know BODMAS? You're a math teacher. You know BODMAS?
I handle for high school, ma'am. I just want
Yeah.
high school. What can be done for?
I'm giving you an example. You can always modify this example. You know BODMAS, no? You know, you're a math teacher.
Yeah.
Brackets of division, multiplication, addition, subtraction, and subtraction, I think. I'm not a math teacher. I'm terribly scared of maths. But BODMAS, if you see this movie, there's a movie called Chalk and Duster or something like that.
Yes.
Go and see the way Shabana Azmi there is using a song of BODMAS. And she is using this song with saying, okay, everybody stand up and brackets, we do this with brackets and we do this with off. Trust me, it's becoming a song. I wish I could share that here, or try to go to the Chalk and Duster is the name of the movie, Shabana Azmi's song. See what BODMAS has done to that particular mathematical problem. And the scariest thing is becoming the least scary, and it's becoming so interesting. So mathematics are gone are the days when it was taught on a chalk and talk method. Now you have practicals in maths, you have activities in maths, you have various ways of showing that math is not such an abstract thing. Math can be brought to life with these life skills addition.
Thank you.
I hope that answers Mangala.
Yeah, yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Thanks. Yeah. Any more?
More questions?
Okay. So looks good. If there's no questions, it's sinking in. I wish you all the best very much to all of you. God bless you all. But make sure that in 21st century, you apply these things in your teaching learning process. Otherwise, you just attend one workshop and we get in another workshop, and then it goes from one year, it goes out from the other year, and nothing is stuck. Make sure that if you're doing this, you're actually cultivating your time. You're actually investing your time and not just wasting it. Invest your time, use it in your practical appearance. You'll find that your profession becomes the best and very productive for you. Thank you so much. God bless.
Thank you.
So I take your leave, Shilpa. I'm sorry, Priya.
Thank you,
I take your
Anjali
leave
ma'am.
because
It was
I
a
have to get into
wonderful
something
session.
else.
We enjoyed a lot.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Thank
It's a
you.
pleasure
Thank you,
and
everybody.
very insightful listening to you. Thank you very much, ma'am.
God bless. And best of luck to all the participants here. I hope you're all winners, by the way. You come up to this level, you're all winners anyways. I am taking your leave because I've got something else to to attend
Sure.
to. So thank you so much.
Thank
Take
you.
care.
Thank you,
Bye-bye.
ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, ma'am.
Dear participants, a reminder again to all participants, kindly fill the attendance sheet. The certificate is auto-generated, so kindly ensure your email ID is correctly entered without any spaces or characters.
We have a session with Kushala.
Do we have?
Yes.
ma'am, we do have.
Okay.
All right. Thank you, ma'am. And talking about skill-based learning, we talk about problem solving and skills like critical thinking. Here's another set of questions for you all. We will be following the similar drill. This is again a connect type of question. See how you can find a link between different pictures, and please feel free to share your answers to me directly, which is Komal_Kushala. So here you can see the logo of some university probably. Again, you see picture at left bottom. Then you see a bill, and I've kind of given you a big hint. You also have something which is by the name Inside on Netflix, and how to avoid a climate disaster. How are all these pictures related to some character, some person, or if you think it's an object, please go ahead and share your answers on chat box. All right, I have kind of started receiving certain answers. Thank you so much. And please feel free to share, even if you think it may be a mere guess and you might not be very much confident. I would love to have your answers on here on chat box. So it's Harvard University logo. What do you see on left-hand side is something which this person has innovated. You see a picture of Bill and two pictures again together. How you combine them to form that particular character is a clue, a major clue. All right. Requesting you all again to please share your answers on chat box to me personally. And I can see now the chat is full of the answers, which is absolutely correct. And I would love for Sunita Srinivasalu ma'am to please come off mute and share if you would like to come ahead of
Yes, ma'am.
what is the answer.
Good evening,
Yes.
ma'am. When you no, actually, I just took a chance. Like you said, when Bill, and I just connected with the gate. So Bill Gates, that's it, ma'am. It's just a hello.
And that's all about it, ma'am. You actually hit the correct answer. The answer is Bill Gates.
Okay,
And
thank you. Thank you.
thank you so much for your participation, and everybody who has attempted to this question. He dropped out from Harvard University. On left bottom, you can see Windows, an eminent product by Bill Gates. How to Avoid a Climate Disaster is a book written by him on his work about climate change. Inside Bill's Brain is a documentary which is on Netflix about his work. And here you see a rebus puzzle with Bill and two Gates, which forms Gates. So Bill plus Gates is the answer. Bill Gates, kudos, ma'am. Would love to have your contact details as well. And let's get ready for second question coming up on your screen again. Here it is. Corning is a company famous for manufacturing Gorilla Glass. Now we use the term Gorilla because Gorilla are identified for their strength. So this company is actually making very much strengthening glasses. A durable smartphone screen also is used out of this company. They have recently joined the COVID-19 effort by creating a small durable container for something urgently needed across the world. Now the question is, what is Corning as a company creating durable containers for? The big clue is that it has got in relation to do with COVID-19 efforts. So what is this company creating or making containers for, which has to do with something made of glass? Again, I can see a whole list of answers, and yes, a couple of you have actually hit the spot on answers again. Okay. Please keep your answers coming in. And for some reason, I cannot see the chat box properly. So sorry, sharing my screen again.
You want me to help, Komal? You want me to read out the answers?
I think Yeah, ma'am, if you can. Okay. Can you see my chat box, by the way?
Yes.
You can see it on screen as
I
well?
can. We cannot see your chat box. We can see the
All
general.
right, all right. Okay, so I'll pick now. I can see actually. So probably I'll pick someone who has not answered yet. And we have got the correct answers. Can I request Vanita ma'am to come off mute and share your response?
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, that is for storing vaccines.
And what made you think so, ma'am?
Actually, the vaccine containers comes in glass bottles.
Glass bottles.
Yeah.
Well, that's absolutely right. We are talking about vaccine vials, which are vaccine bottles. Thank you so much everyone for responding. And the answer is spot on correct. And let's take a picture with this since we are at the end of Q-Shala questions for today. I would request you all if you can please turn on your videos and have a picture moment with us. We can do paneer, smile, cheese, however you like it. And let's go ahead and clear a picture with our smiling faces in 3, 2, and here you go. You can make as craziest faces as you can. I know you all are tired attending all the interactive intellectual sessions. Please give me a smile if possible. Thank you so much. Taking the snapshot of other page. Keep smiling. All right. Thank you so much. And with this, we come towards the end of session. If you like the quiz at Q-Shala, please do write to us at qshala@walnuts.co.in. You can reach out to us on the same phone number. I will also be sharing the details on chat box for you all. Thank you for having us. See you.